Welcome to another episode of Discussions on Great Leadership. My guest today is Nadege Minois. She helps individuals and businesses unlock the untapped potential in both themselves and in organizations through the power of cultural diversity. Born and raised in France, she has had a really diverse career. It's taken her to the United States, to Germany, to Austria, and now she resides in the United Kingdom, in Scotland, I believe. She was originally a researcher in biology, and now she is a coach and a trainer. Talk about diversity. So this vast and diverse experience is something that we can all learn from. Welcome, Nadege.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I'm so glad to be one of your guests.
Oh,
Thank you for the invitation.
I am really pleased to have you. As you know, I lived in Asia for 21 years, then I lived in Australia for 12 years. So I'm a huge believer in the importance of cultural diversity and understanding it and multiculturalism. So let's kick off. Everyone gets the same first question, Nadege, and that is, what does the words great leadership mean to you?
So to me, great leadership is about adapted or flexible leadership. And so to me, the main characteristic of a great leader is that this person is able to adapt to each audience and not being a great leader in just one context, but in many, many situations for many, many different people.
Excellent, excellent. I love that. Also, what we've gone through in the year 2020, adapting and flexibility and agility is really important. But most people think of those in terms of adapting to situations, adapting to the pandemic. I love you talking about adapting to people, adapting to cultures. Could you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Yes, yeah. Basically, everybody has different expectations, and particularly in terms of leadership. And this is mostly cultural. Obviously, there will be some personal differences, but it is mostly cultural. Mm-hmm. And so it means that you need to be able to understand people, where they come from, and adapt to them, because they will request different things. And to be a great leader, you need to be able to deliver these different things.
Absolutely agree with you. I know I had to adapt living in Asia. I was a young American and really had to learn the Asian culture. And people talk about the Asian culture. There's many cultures in Asia. I mean, yes. Japanese are different than the Singaporeans, who are different than the Indians, who are different than the Thais. So really important to understand that. How does cross-cultural communication impact leaders?
Oh, in a lot of different things, because it means that we don't talk about communication, but really about communications. And so it impacts leader in the sense that they will need to be able to communicate in different ways if they want to communicate efficiently cross-culturally. And it's not that easy. So, the impact for them can actually be very stressful, because having to adapt all the time when you're trying, it's actually not very easy, and it can be very stressful, and that can be in very different contexts. So whenever the context change, it will impact a leader. Whether you've been a great leader and you're promoted to a new environment somewhere else in your organization, or it can be that you go and take on a different job in a different organization and the culture is completely different. So your communication has to be different. And it may just be new team members coming into your existing team, but because they have a different background from the members already there, again, it will impact your cross-cultural communication, because you will need to change your communication for these new people.
Yeah, it sounds like when you're talking about cross-cultural communications, you mean a lot more than just being fluent in a second or third language. Give us some tips. What are some of the key driving points that people can do to excel in cross-cultural communications?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's not just about knowing other languages, also that it actually can help a lot, just from the fact that it shows that you're curious to learn a different language. You're curious enough. And being curious is a crucial aspect to become culturally competent. And learning a different language also opens your mind, because you can see how a different language articulates and what it means for people, and what messages this new language carries. So it's a real help, but you're right, that's not just about it. And the key driving point to really become a great leader cross-culturally, well, first of all, you need to see the need of it. If you don't think it is needed, you'll never become culturally competent. You need to see that it has benefits, not just for you, but for the people you lead too, and everybody around. So that's the first key driver. And then something that will be very important is self-awareness. And you need to know how your culture impacts you, your own culture, and how it has shaped the way you behave, the way you communicate. Because if you don't know that, then you cannot reflect on it and you cannot change it. And then to be able to change it, and I would say the next driving point would be that you need to know how cultures differ. Because if you don't know what is different, then you don't know in which direction to go. And then from there, it's come the point that you need to experiment. And so then you need to take action and to adapt your behavior, your communication. And then you reflect on that. And it's a whole cycle of learning. You experiment, you reflect, you learn, and you do it the same way if it worked, or you change it if it didn't work. Yeah. So that's really the driving points.
So it's a never-ending journey of learning and learning and learning, it sounds like.
It is, that's right. That's right. You always learn, yes. I think it was it's one of your favorite quotes, I think, about never stop learning.
Because life never stops teaching. And
Exactly.
I know I think I learned as much from my mistakes as I learned from reading books and talking with people and getting advice. But boy, when you make a mistake culturally, you learn not to make it the second time. We're human beings. We can, it's easy to make a mistake, a faux pas, particularly if you don't understand the culture whatsoever.
Exactly.
I guess it must be a little bit more difficult for leaders today in this world of lockdown and second lockdowns and third lockdowns, leading remote teams, working from home situations. Any advice on what people can do to be more sensitive to the different cultures during these remote leadership periods?
Yes, definitely. People have to be more aware and more sensitive to the different cultures, to the different people. And it's especially important remotely because you don't have all the signals that you would normally have. For instance, you miss some of the body language because, as you can see here, usually you're in a meeting with some people, you see the upper language. So you still have the facial expressions, but you miss quite a bit of the body language. So you need to be a lot more aware about that. And there may be also people that you miss on your screen because there's just not enough space for everybody that attend the meeting. And then you kind of forget about the quiet people. Why haven't they interacted? Why haven't they said anything during the meeting? And you can pick that up when you're in the same room, but remotely, it's more difficult. And a second point about remotely, and especially the lockdown, is that I think I can see a paradox in that, because being a lot more online has potentially increased our exposure to diversity, because suddenly we can go and talk to people from all over the world and look at news and things from all over the world, all these different cultures. But that is if we choose to. And at the same time, because of the lockdown, actually our world has shrunk. So all these interactions that we would have had, the small talks, meeting people for the first time, you strike a conversation with the person next to you in line when you're waiting for your coffee. This doesn't happen anymore. So also we can be potentially much more exposed to cultural diversity. If we choose not to do it, actually our world is shrinking and we kind of forget about this diversity and forget that it is there and forget how to handle it. So to me, that's the main difficulty, that people may be in their kind of smaller bubble. And so you always need to keep reminding people and being aware of that as a leader.
Those are interesting points. And it strikes me that prior to the pandemic, we used to focus on our differences. One thing we've learned from the pandemic is that we're all going through the same experience. I mean, a lockdown in the UK is like a lockdown in India, is like a lockdown in Singapore, Australia, United States, Mexico, whatever. So suddenly we have these common experiences that we can that we can bond around. Unfortunately, not a pleasant experience, but we get to realize we're not as different as we might think.
Yes, no, that's right. We're all going through the same experiences, but what cultures and cultural differences can show us is how people and different cultures have reacted to these conditions, these circumstances, and this pandemic. And so we can definitely learn a lot. Yes, no, that's been stressful and trying not to repeat experiment, but that definitely something that we could learn a lot from.
Well, tell people how they can reach you, because I know you do coaching and training in this area, and I'm a big advocate for it. I really want to push it. How can people contact you if they want to learn more about the kind of coaching and training that you do?
Yes, so several ways of contacting me. You can contact me via LinkedIn. So if you look for my profile and just message me, or you can contact me directly by email if you want. And I don't know how would be the best way to communicate this information, Stephen, to them.
I'll put your email address in the comments section when I upload this to the YouTube channel on leadership. Let's put if that's okay with you, we'll just say to contact you. We'll do that. Do you have a website address as well?
I also have a website, and I can also give you the address to my website. And on the website you can book a call, an absolutely free call, completely to discuss with me about any needs you may have around cultural diversity.
So everyone, I'll put that information in the comment section when I upload this video to our YouTube channel on Great Leadership. If you enjoyed this conversation with Nadege Minois, or Dr. Nadege Minois, I should have actually said, she does have her PhD. Please hit the subscribe button below, and also give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and share this video with everybody. So this has been Discussions on Great Leadership. I'm your host, Stephen Howard, wishing you continued success. Thank you very much.